chiropractor. I've been in practice now, it was 40 years in November. And to work with Dr.
Amazing.
Arbeitman,
That's amazing.
Working with Dr. Arbeitman and his practice and all the people in it, the doctors, the staff, has really been, for me, the highlight of my career. And I really do mean that. To come to work every day and be with people that live the passion for chiropractic, because we're not chiropractors, we are chiropractic. Chiropractic is a calling, it's something that's in us. And without a passion for what we call the old timers, I'm an old timer now myself, what we call the fire in the belly, and that's what kept this profession going. And not all chiropractors have that today. And to have met Dr. Arbeitman and be working with him these last 4 years, and with Dr. Cordy and Dr. Lenahan and Kara and Anaya, has really been a blessing for me. And when I retire someday, I don't know when, but I'm going to look back on my career and say these were the greatest moments of my life and of my career.
Can we go home now?
You can go home. Well, it is my pleasure to introduce someone who has truly dedicated his life to helping people heal and live at a higher level. Dr. Larry Arbeitman founded Upper Cervical Chiropractic of Monmouth in 2005 with a simple but powerful mission to positively impact the health of our community by focusing on the nervous system and healing from the inside out. Over the past 21 years, he has overseen more than 300,000 patient visits. Yeah, pretty amazing, right? That's a chiropractor.
Look at the vision, though. Look at the vision. To serve over 1 million. All right. So we're only 30% of the way there.
30% there. All right.
Truth.
That means I have to practice another 30, right?
Yeah, definitely. Need your help.
He has trained doctors who are now serving communities all over the country. He continues to teach, mentor, and advance the field of upper cervical care through postgraduate programs and consulting. But what really sets Dr. A apart is not just his experience, it's his heart. He believes that healing is built on trust, connection, and truly caring for the patient. If you've experienced care in our office, you felt that. Earlier this year, he launched the Care to Grow Show, a podcast that interviews doctors across specialties about how they uniquely care for their patients. The mission is to start a viral conversation about putting the care back in healthcare in America. Tonight, he's going to share a message from his book, The Gift of Hope, that can change the way you think about your health and what your body is truly capable of. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Larry Arbeitman.
Thank you, Dr. Jerry. All right, this is my turn. I love it. So, by a show of hands, how many people have had their primary care physician bring them to dinner? Because you may be asking, like, why a dinner? Why a chiropractor? And what I realized early on in my career, a long time ago, was there's a gap between what the public thinks we do as chiropractors and what we actually do. And for those of you whose backs are to me, it's okay for you to turn your chair. Otherwise, we're going to have to see you at 8 a.m. You're going to be like this. Yeah, and that's what I see, right? That's just what I see. There's a gap. There's a gap. The chiropractic is a healing art. It's not a therapy for back and neck pain. It's not a therapy for dizziness and headaches and migraines. But Dr. Larry, all these people come to you and they've gotten better from those things. They came because of those things, but they got better because of themselves. Healing is an inside-out process. No matter what you've been told, it's always an inside-out process. And tonight we're going to talk about healing because when I asked you 20 minutes ago, who wants to be happy and healthy, you all raised your hands. And to be happy and healthy, we've got to be able to heal. But to be able to heal, you've got to be able to believe that you can heal, because if you don't, you won't. And so as I was preparing for tonight's talk, and some of you have been to every talk, or almost every talk, I mean, Ed has been with our practice since 2005. Eddie, his son, was like 8 years old when I met him. Linda was patient number 1, right over there. Patient number 1, still showing up. And what I tell her is every year we get better, and every year we get better. And so as I was preparing for tonight, I wanted to share something different, and I didn't know what that was going to be because the message is the message. And I was out on a hike by myself, and I kind of just got this like flood, and I had to like stop and just like start typing into my phone. And this is what I typed. The 11 lessons I've learned in 22 years and 300,000 visits. Number 1, people are good. At the core, people are inherently good. I've met thousands of people, I've been blessed to lay hands on thousands. We all want the same things. No matter who you are, people want connection, health, family, love, and belonging. That's what tonight's about. People are equal. When you do what we do, you realize how much we all have in common. Across all ages, races, genders, and religions, you don't see differences, you see people. You see human beings. You see souls who deserve a better, more pleasant journey while they're here. When I look at an x-ray, I can't tell the color of someone's skin or what they believe. When they're on the table, my eyes are closed and my hands are touching. I feel the warmth of their skin, the flow of their breath, their deepest desires. We are all equal all the time. Number 4, people forget how powerful they are. We are reminders. We are reminding people all day long. We had a meeting that came up today. People come into this world equipped with so much, but somewhere along the way they forget. What's incredible is seeing the power come back online, witnessing the resilience in people who are struggling, still moving forward again and again against the odds, even in the face of pain. Humans are amazingly resilient. Healing is a reminder. When people heal, they're not becoming something new, they're remembering who they've always been. They're remembering how powerful they are. It's like a light bulb goes off inside them. And we celebrate that because they did the healing. We've never healed anyone of anything. The definition of a healer is the person that's with the provider that's with the patient at the time that they heal themselves. We can facilitate the process, but it's always an inside-out process. Number 6, not everyone gets well. Truth. I'm here telling all of you that not everybody gets well. And that stays with us. We see incredible results in our practice. We might see 80 people in a day, and 77 are doing amazing. No longer even talking about the symptoms that originally brought them into our office. But it's that 2 or 3 who are still struggling. Those are the ones that we think about the most. Those are the ones we talk about as a team. We meet, we review, and we care deeply about how to help them. Mindset matters. A person's mindset plays a role in their healing. Your personality will determine your reality. This is a big psychological game, this thing called life, and your body and your health is no different. We can nearly predict who will do well based on their psychology and self-talk. That's real. We see it all. The people who are cautious, skeptical, somewhat engaged, helpless, and hopeless struggle. These people struggle at first, but then something happens. There's a moment. You can see it. A light bulb goes on, something changes. Not just the doctors notice it, but the whole team notices it. The patient gets it. There's a shift to hope, positivity, partnership, a commitment to make a change in their life. They reconnect with that bigger idea that they're not broken and that healing is possible. They see hope. And with hope came lesson number 9. Hope changes physiology. Now, I wrote this book in 2005. It's only been edited twice because the truth is the truth is the truth. It's called The Gift of Hope. Sometimes that glimmer of hope is all that's needed. Because when someone believes it's possible, their body, their physiology can begin to change. Life is better with chiropractic, lesson number 10. And what we see over and over again is this. Life is better when the body is functioning the way it was designed. Life is better with chiropractic than without it. And then number 11. At the end of the day, this might be the most important lesson of all. Caring matters. It's not a soft skill that gets done if we have time. It's not dessert if there's room. People can feel it. They know when they're truly being seen, heard, validated, and cared for. It changes clinical outcomes. And when people feel cared for, they open up and they trust. And I had a mentor, Dr. Bob Brooks. He said, trust precedes healing. And that's when people start to heal. That's why we care passionately for those we serve. That's what came to me on my hike. That's the core of who we are and what we do. And I believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that we save lives every day in our office with the chiropractic adjustment. Now, I know that may sound like a bold statement for those of you who are doing well, or those of you who just met me like 20 minutes ago. It's not like if there was an accident, God forbid, out on Route 34, and you bring that person that's bleeding in here, and we adjust them, that we're going to save their life. That won't work. They need to go to the hospital. We save lives differently. We see people in their darkest moments. We see people in despair. We see people who have been everywhere and tried everything. Just yesterday, Kara and I took a video of a patient, Zahira, who was kind enough to share her experience in our office. We met Zahira a few months ago. She was dealing with crippling dizziness, so much so that she had been sleeping up for months because she couldn't lay flat. She was out of work. Her whole face was burning. Her shoulders were burning. Her kids were having to take care of her. She's in her 50s. Her whole life came to a screeching halt. She didn't even know she'd be able to lay on the table for us to adjust her. She looked me in the eyes yesterday, and Kara, you were there to bear witness, and she said, your team saved my life. She's looking for a job again. She's sleeping laying flat. She danced at her son's wedding. One of my childhood friends earlier this year reached out to me. He lives up in Madison. A lot of our patients would come from outside of Monmouth County looking for help. He had been everywhere and tried everything. He said, and I hadn't seen him in like 15, 20 years. He said, you're my last resort. I have such bad leg pain. None of the doctors, none of the physical therapists can figure it out. The epidurals didn't work. I'm 48 years old. I can't even throw a baseball with my kids. I can't ride a bike. I can't sleep. And I'm miserable to be married to. And fast forward, Greg is back to all of that. And to do that for a childhood friend is incredible. But he looked both of us in the eyes and said, you guys saved my life. Today we saw Stephanie, and most of you have heard Stephanie's story because Stephanie was the first example of a life saved. I was a brand new practitioner. I think I even answered the phone that day. And her mom called and said, my daughter's a 16-year-old gymnast at Freehold Township High School, and she is paralyzed from the neck down. She was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, and she's being homeschooled, and she's out of gymnastics, and she can't even do any of her schoolwork. That was in 2006. Fast forward, I adjusted Stephanie today. She comes into our office with her babies. She's been married. She's a speech therapist. She got her whole life back. And that's where the fire in the belly comes from, because every day what motivates us to come to the office and serve humanity is how many more Stephanies never found out about this care and they're still living with their parents being cared for. Does Stephanie ever meet a husband and have those two beautiful babies, Shay and Ronan? So I believe we save lives with the chiropractic. I know it. I don't believe it. I know it. There's another way we save lives. And remember this, that tonight's talk may not just be for you. It may be for someone who's not here tonight. The opioid crisis in America isn't slowing down. Let me read you some statistics. Between 2011 and 2021, 422,000 unintentional deaths to opioid toxicity. It was 19,000 a year. By 2021, it was 75,000 a year. 60,000 Americans died in the whole Vietnam War. We're losing 75,000 Americans a year to opioids. And most of these are prescribed. And what I think about is, in our practice of hundreds of patients, we don't have anybody taking opioids. Sometimes people come in on opioids and are able to get off. Sometimes they may have been on a trajectory towards it and were able to halt it. And sometimes they just learn something new about their body and they go, you know what? I'm not going to go that route. And another motivating factor for me is, what if those 75,000 Americans this year knew about a practice like ours? So remember, this talk may not be for you. It may be for someone that's not here tonight. So, how many people want to be healthy? Let's just get that going now. How do you know if you're healthy? You all want it. How do you know if you're healthy? Anybody want to take a stab at that? I'll do it for you. Typically, if I meet a new patient, not the ones that have been here for 20 years, they'll say, if I feel good, I'm healthy. Cancer, heart disease, strokes, diabetes, hypertension, osteoporosis. These are some of the worst conditions humanity goes through, and these people feel good until they have a test and they find that they should be feeling bad. The other common belief that people have about their health, and why do people think that? Because we're told that. When you feel something not right, take something, make that symptom go away, and you're good. And you're good. I'm not saying that we shouldn't all feel good. I want you all to feel good. I want my family to feel good. I want my patients to feel good. I pray for you all every day to feel good. But it's an incomplete way of approaching our health. The other thing I'll hear is, if I'm not sick, I'm healthy. How you guys doing? I'm fine. I'm not sick, I'm good. Well, let me ask you a question. Would you rather be pretty or just not ugly? Would you rather be smart or just not dumb? Would you rather be rich or just not poor? Would you rather be healthy or just not sick? See, there's a continuum here. Wellness is here, illness is here, and the thing that's obvious is, if we're alive, we're on this continuum somewhere. And not sick is right in the middle. And a lot of people live between symptom, not sick, symptom, not sick. The thing that's less obvious, whether you like it or not, whether you want to or not, if you're on this continuum each and every day, you're either moving one way or another. You don't have a choice. Nothing alive is staying static. Think about your plant you forgot to water, right? So we have to have a strategy. First, we have to have a belief. Is it possible, by show of hands, is anybody healthier today than they were 5 years ago? Did you get younger? So there's a belief, right? Like, as I get older, I get sicker and sicker, and I become more and more frail, and I need more and more help. That would be quite limiting belief. Like, no one's going to walk around saying they have cancer when they don't. We would never say that for fear that it could cause cancer. So we have to examine what it is that we say to ourselves about our health. Well, Dr. Larry, if health is not about feeling good and not solely about being not sick, then what is it? Well, let's ask the dictionary. Dorland's. Health is a complete state of mental, physical, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease and or infirmity. By show of hands, how many people in here have a complete state of mental, physical, and social well-being? So when I look at that, and that is literally right from Dorland's Medical Dictionary, that definition is like utopia. See, health is not an event. You don't wake up one day and be healthy. But you also don't wake up one day and be sick. They're both processes. Now, health is a continuum. Do we all have a greater level of health than the people in the hospital right now, thank God? Yes. Absolutely. Could we have a greater level of health than we do right now? Is that possible? Absolutely. There's belief system number one that has to be installed. Because without that belief, nothing you do is going to work. Now, we have to then have strategies in place to move us in the direction of health and wellness. So what is your greatest asset? Is it your house? Is it your car? It's your health. See, there is a method of care in our country called sick care. And do we need sick care doctors? 100%. We need crisis care, we need sick care. We have medical doctors that have saved people. That's my family table. We have saved members of my family's lives. Thank God we have them. But if your house is burning, it's a metaphor for your body, and who do you call? You call the fire department. And what does the fire department bring? They bring their axes and their hoses, their drugs and their surgery. And if they get there in time, they go through your front door with an axe, they go through your kitchen with an axe, they hose down your dishwasher, your flat screen TV, your brand new couch, and if they got to your house in time, they saved the house. Who do you call the next day after the fire is put out? Why do people go back to the fire department and ask them for more? See, you call the insurance company so that the contractor can come in. Now, the contractor, we don't have axes and hoses. We have nail guns and ladders and paintbrushes, and the fire department goes, you can't put out a fire with those tools. And we go, we're not trying to put out fires. These houses aren't spontaneously combusting. We're trying to get to the homeowner before their house catches fire and teach them about their foundation, about their electrical wiring, about how to be good homeowners and stewards of the house and take care of the house and get out in front so there's never a fire. Do we need fire departments? Yes. Do we need general contractors? Yes. You just got to know when to call who. Now, the general contractor has a different philosophy. Have you noticed? And we have friends that are amazing medical doctors. We have tons of referrals from medical doctors. And I send plenty of people to medical doctors for their expertise. So it's not an us or them type of thing. In fact, on the podcast that he mentioned, I interview medical doctors all the time that are uniquely caring for people. And so when we approach a patient's care, our philosophy is called salutagenesis. I don't look at people as broken. I don't look at people that need to be fixed. I see people with all the gifts they need within them to heal. That healing is a natural process. And you may say, well, Dr. Larry, if healing is a natural process, why are there so many people suffering? Well, you know what? Gravity is a natural process, and this book isn't falling. Because we can interfere with the body's ability to heal. How do we interfere with the body's ability to heal? Well, we have to eat well. We have to move well. We have to think well. We have to rest well. We have to breathe well. So if you took out your calendar, how many appointments do you have with yourself this week? It's your prized possession. Let me tell you about your health. When patients lose health, they lose their physical health. They lose their ability to do what they want to do when they want to do it. They lose their emotional health. They end up being depressed, or fearful, or anxious, or scared, or concerned. It's like a slow drip of anxiety. They lose their spiritual health, their ability to feel connected because they're so focused on what's happening in their body. When people lose their health, it affects every relationship in their life. It affects their social relationships. We see people that are canceling plans for vacations and dinners out with friends and family. It affects their relationships with their kids or their grandkids, their ability to throw a football or get on the floor with their new grandbaby. There's a price we pay when we take our eye off the ball called health. It affects the most important relationship, your love relationship. I've seen way too many lovers become caregivers. Too many. Too many wives. We used to call this dinner the reluctant spouse dinner. And it's always the wife, not always, but most of the time it's the wife saying, honey, you're coming to that dinner again. It's a year already? It affects our financial health. When we don't have our health, it affects our financial health. You know what you can't afford in this country? You can't afford to be sick. Half of all bankruptcies in America, according to a Harvard study, are in college-educated people due to health reasons. It affects career paths. People don't go as far as they would have gone because, like Zahira, she had to stop working because she couldn't lay down. It affects quality of life. When you go to the Grand Canyon, do you go to the Grand Canyon and be like, honey, let's hike in. Or do you go to the Grand Canyon and you go, nice hole. I'm going to go back to the bus. And at the end of the day, this is how big it is. We're all here for a purpose. We're all here to do something in this short time, this miracle of time that we have. And at the end of our days, we're going to look back and we're going to say, was I able to do everything that I wanted to do in this time? That's why you've got to have a general contractor that can help motivate you, inspire you, and steer you. It doesn't mean you give up your fire department. It just means you've got to have both on your team. And if you don't, the statistics are grim. As a country, are we getting healthier or sicker? Does anybody think we're getting healthier? I've been doing this talk for 23 years, and the answer hasn't changed, unfortunately. Let me read you some stats. U.S. healthcare outcomes, overall ranking, 12th out of 12 high-income countries. Life expectancy, 76 to 77 years versus 80 to 84 in peer nations, ranks last. Infant mortality, 5.4 deaths per 1,000 births, higher than most developed nations, 2 to 4 is average. Chronic disease burden, heart disease, diabetes, and obesity, dementia. Lifestyle-related diseases drives poorer long-term health outcomes. We lead the world in those. Avoidable preventable deaths, highest rate among high-income countries. Maternal mortality, the highest maternal death rate in the developed world. We have the greatest institutions, greatest doctors, greatest technology, but what we're learning is better health through better chemistry has failed. Miserably. We need to have it. We need to have that chemistry available. But if you go into someone's house and you go into their bathroom, you go into one bathroom, you open the medicine cabinet and it's full. And then you go, let me go in the other bathroom. And you open that medicine cabinet and it's empty. Which one's the healthier person? Absolutely. Anybody hear the term polypharmacy? Polypharmacy is when an individual is on 5 drugs or more. 30% of adults in the U.S. over 40 are on 5 drugs or more. 51% of adults over 65 are on 5 drugs or more. It's nearly doubled in the last 20 years. Increased falls, frailty, disability, mortality, hospitalizations, adverse drug effects, cognitive decline and confusion, especially the elderly, accelerating, not stabilizing, and we keep going back for more axes and hoses. You need to find wellness doctors. I don't care if it's me, but just for the sake of your lives and your family, find people that are trained in not what people die from, but what people live from. So, amen. So Dr. Peter Attia is an MD that specializes in longevity, and he wrote a great book called Outlive, and he's talking about the marginal decade. The marginal decade is our last 10 years of our life. Most people don't know when they've entered their marginal decade, but most people figure out when they're in it. And what he was saying was we need to train for our marginal decade. If you know in your last 10 years of life you want to be able to get on and off the floor, if you want to be able to ski, if you want to be able to hike, if you want to be able to go into a raft, then that's what you train for now in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. It's never too late. And it's really the beliefs. Everybody knows what they should do, right? We know we should exercise, we know we should eat well, we know we should pray, we know we should do some deep breathing, we know we have to have meaningful relationships, we know we have to have connection, we know what we need to do, but it's our beliefs about it that determines whether we do it or not. You and I were talking about that this morning, right? So who's responsible for your health? Who? You are. Is it your insurance company? No. Blue Cross Blue Shield does not care. Is it Medicare? Is the U.S. government responsible for keeping you well? No. Is your doctor responsible for your health? No. You are. It's called agency. And when we have agency and we take responsibility, it means you have an internal locus, meaning I am going to take responsibility. These people do incredible in our practice. These are the people whose lives literally change. But when everybody's looking outside for someone to fix them and blaming everything, those people don't do as well. The research shows that people who have agency around their health have less depression, they're more resilient, and they live longer. So that's pretty cool. So I'm empowering you. I'm giving you your power back that was taken away from you by all the drug ads. My son watches so much sports. And he can't watch a sporting event without either seeing a sports book commercial, like just train them to go from video games to betting, or a drug ad. I mean, that's it. That's all the money. Those two industries are just sucking up the money, right? And that's why they're all over TV. And he listens to the drug commercial and goes, Dad, why would anybody want to bleed out their butt? And I said, that's a good question. So we talk about healing. I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt we're experts in healing, not because we've ever healed anybody, but because we've been witnessed to. I'm going to teach you chiropractic in 4 sentences because everybody's probably getting hungry again. Okay? Your body is self-healing and self-regulating. What does that mean? That means, have you ever cut your finger? What made you skin? Was it the Band-Aid?
Nope.
Was it the Neosporin?
Nope.
I have 12 stitches in my shoulder right now. And the doctor sewed me up last week, and they put a bandage on, and he said, come back in 2 weeks and get your stitches out. He didn't say, I'm going to reattach your skin and make it new. He said, I'm going to facilitate a process, and then your body's going to do the rest. For those of you who've had joint replacements, they put the joint replacement in, or somebody who's had their life saved with a stent or an angioplasty. The doctor goes to the family, the surgery went well, now we have to see how the body heals. Even your doctors know that they don't do the healing, that you do the healing. So what system let's hack the body. What system in the body is responsible for all the healing and self-regulation of the body? Let's go to the 40-year-old doctor.
Nervous system.
The nervous system. I never hear cardiovascular system, immune system, integumentary system, that's skin, reproductive system. It is the nervous system. The brain and the spinal cord is responsible for all the healing and regulation of your body. What's digesting the pasta right now? Your gut. Your gut has more nerves in it than your entire brain. If you don't believe me, your nervous system is everywhere. If I took away all your skin and all your bones and all your muscles, we'd still see Iris sitting here. We'd see the outline of her in her nervous system. And if you don't believe me, just take your fork and start poking it in. Anywhere you feel your fork is a nerve. Chiropractors remove nerve interference, period. What about headaches? Nope. What about dizziness? Nope. What about neck pain? Nope. What about back pain? Nope. But Dr. Larry, what about all those people? Yeah, they got well. They came because of those things, because that's how they were trained to come to doctors when something's not right. But they got well because we removed nerve interference. So let's say you buy this. Linda, do you buy this? It's only been 20 years. Let's say you buy this. Okay, Dr. Larry, this nerve interference thing is keeping me from functioning optimally. What's nerve interference? It starts with an S and ends with an S. Anybody know what that is?
Subluxation.
Yes. Subluxations. Subluxation is a chiropractic $10 word for stress. Anybody ever hear stress? None of you have stress, right? Stress comes in 3 forms: physical, chemical, and emotional. None of you have physical stress because you all have perfect ergonomic workstations. You never look down at your phone. You have a Pilates reformer in your living room. Thanks, Danielle. We do have. My wife bought one after she met Danielle. And you have a trainer named Ralph, and you never miss your chiropractic adjustment. We have chemical stress, right? We live in New Jersey, we breathe the clean New Jersey air, drink the clean New Jersey water, and we're never exposed to any chemicals, insecticides, or pesticides, or drugs prescribed or over the counter. Emotional stress. Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you have Fox News and CNN on your phone? You notice how I said both? It's everywhere, it's around us, it's non-stop, it's a slow drip. It's called the allostatic load. And your body's ability to adapt to that stress will determine if you get sick or not. Because when your body's in a state of, I'm going to take this off, is that okay? Just the jacket. Okay. When your body's in a state of stress, your sugar goes up, your cholesterol goes up, your muscles tighten, your memory gets short, your libido goes down, your thyroid goes down. You see, these are all the conditions that are being treated. Your blood pressure goes up in a state of stress because the stress response is getting you ready to fight a tiger or a bear. But we don't have tigers or bears. We have all those other things. So that slow drip is happening, and all of a sudden now all your markers are getting off. And the doctors are treating a normal stress response that's unchecked. So we have to have a strategy to shut the fight or flight system off. What's the opposite of fight or flight? Anybody know? Rest and digest, heal and repair. What is that called? That's called the parasympathetic nervous system. Where is that? That's in the upper neck. That's what we do with upper cervical, is we shut off that chronic slow drip, the worry, the fear, the anxiety. And we can measure it now in a test called heart rate variability. You can train your nervous system to regulate. Dim the lights in your house. Keep the TV off. Do a breathing exercise where you breathe in, you breathe out longer than you breathe in. Exercise, hydrate, get sleep, shut the news off, regulate your nervous systems. It's about a mindset. It's about a soul set. It's about a heart set. But if you get whisked up into it all, like the whole system now is just going to pull you along with it. You've got to be intentional and protect your nervous system. Protect it. Be calm to it. If you had a child that was struggling, that was crying and struggling, would you yell at the child and say, "What's wrong with you? Why don't you ever get this right?" That's what some of our patients do when we first meet them. "I'm getting older. This body's broken. I need new parts." Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. I'm not saying ignore what's happening. Notice it, acknowledge it, and then take a step. And it's okay to move slowly as long as we're making progress. Some people heal quick. Some people heal slow. Some children learn fast and some children learn slow. You don't give up on the child. Why would you give up on your body unless you've been disempowered? I love technology. I love learning about peptides and DNA and all the new technology coming out in healthcare. But I've got a secret for you. The best technology ever made is inside you right now. And when you can figure out how to turn it on and keep it on, you will live a better life. And that's what we do with the upper cervical adjustment. We work at the main switch. Why upper cervical? Why upper cervical? You only take care of necks? Not really. Your brain meets your spinal cord right here. It's called your brainstem. Every single vital process of your body, from your blood pressure to your digestive system to your immune system, is controlled right here. We all remember when the tragedy happened with Christopher Reeves. When he fell off of a horse and he broke the second cervical vertebrae, and this little knobby thing went back into his spinal cord. Did he have a neck and headache problem? Or did he lose the control of everything in his body down below? He lost his ability to breathe for himself, walk for himself, and ultimately he lost his life force. There is a life force that's in our bodies. If I had a cadaver, and I know that's kind of morbid, laying here, what's the difference between that cadaver and me? We have the same parts. I have life running through me and the cadaver doesn't. And where does that life come from? Above, whatever your belief system is, down, inside, out. Not from educated mind, outside, in and up. It just doesn't work that way. So there's three types of intelligence. There's universal intelligence that always knows that in May, his garden is going to bloom. It also knows that the birds start coming back up. It also knows how to digest, how to change the seasons, turn the globe, run the oceans. And then there's an innate intelligence. The innate intelligence is what's within us. It's telling your heart to beat, your stomach to breathe, your lungs to breathe, your spleen to spleen, and your gallbladder to gallbladder. Could you imagine if we had to tell our heart to beat? I'd have to hire somebody. I'm busy right now. And then there's educated intelligence. Educated intelligence is here. It's getting better. Universal, innate intelligence is here, and universal intelligence is here. It's so big in knowing. That's why we keep learning more every year humans are around, because we don't know it all. So we work in the upper cervical spine because of this entry point above, down, and inside out. Now, when there's accidents and injuries in our life, how would we become subluxated or misaligned? Well, the obvious is a physical trauma. Have you ever been born? Have you ever been to a live birth? Well, when the baby's being pulled out, the baby, if you hold a newborn, they can't even hold up their head. And if you turn the head and pull the baby out, that could be the first misalignment. Because these bones aren't even fully formed yet. And you know there's no muscular support. And then that baby goes on to become a toddler. And they're stumbling and falling off of jungle gyms. And then they become a teenager and they're holding backpacks. And they're on Google Chromebooks 24/7. And then there's sports injuries. And then you've all hit your head on the top of the door jamb. And then you've hit your head on the overhead in the airplane. And there's car accidents. And there's emotional stress. So if I take a hit from here, which way does my body go? This way. If I take a hit from here, which way does my body go? This way. But if I take a hit from here, which way can my body go? It can't go to the ground. So what does it do? It turns. And just like a can of Coke, you cannot compress it until you turn it. And so what happens is you have these accidents and injuries that tear loose connective tissue in your body. And it shows up as a high or low shoulder, a high or low hip, a twisting of the body's framework, but there's no symptoms. You feel fine, I'm good. I don't need that dinner. You go this year. And it leads to abnormal movement patterns, still no symptoms. Different muscles start to contract to compensate for all these compressions and changes. And then all of a sudden the pain shows up. And you hope it goes away. But it doesn't. So you take an Advil, and then that stops working. So you're like, all right, I gotta go to the doctor. And you go to the doctor, and they take a picture of your whole body or just the part? Just the part. See, health is about coherence. When our brain and when our organs are all vibrating at the same frequency, we're coherent. Imagine like a symphony. And the strings and the percussion and the wind instruments are all playing differently. But when they're in coherence, then there is music. And that's the same way the body works. So when you go to the doctor and they take a X-ray or an MRI of that part, they go, you have osteoarthritis of your C5, or your L5, or your right hip, or your left knee. And you go, what caused that, doctor? And he goes, and I'm going to say he, what caused that, doctor? He goes, oh, you're getting older. It's part of the normal aging process. And you're smart because you came to my dinner. And you said, well, doctor, how old's my other knee? I see new patients come in with their, and it's like a badge of honor. Here's my cervical MRI. And I go, where's the rest of your spine? Like, would you go to a heart doctor that only takes care of left sides of hearts? Well, that's what spinal doctors do, because the insurance companies will only pay for the part that hurts. You will never get your spine healthy by having a doctor look at one part of it, ever. I know more about spinal mechanics than anybody. You will never get it right without looking at the whole thing, and that's why we take full spine x-rays of the whole spine. So everybody's focusing on the pain, the pinched nerve, the herniated disc, but I'm telling you, it's the last thing to show up, and the only way out of this mess is to correct the trauma. When's the best time to do it? When you're old or young? Young. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Today. So some of you that we've been taking care of, you still have people in your homes that haven't been checked. You take your kids to the dentist as soon as they got their teeth. You don't wait till their teeth hurt. They don't even keep the teeth and you take them to the dentist. They lose those teeth. So we have tons of children in our practice. Why? Because there's more hope for them. Their spine and their nervous system is still growing and developing. We have little Rosie in our practice. She's 7 years old. We've been adjusting her since she was born. And just last week, she said to her mom, I need to go to the chiropractor. Something wasn't right, and she knew it. Now think about that belief system. She wasn't like, can I have a children's Tylenol, please? She knows she's powerful, that she can heal from the inside out at 7. My son plays soccer. When his neck gets locked up from heading that soccer ball 10 times in a game, and he can't move, and he goes, Dad, did you adjust me for the next game? No problem. And he goes to me, Dad, what do the other kids do? That's a good question. You should ask them. This is for everybody. This isn't for the people that are hurting. This isn't for the people that are old. This isn't for the people that are young. If you're human and you have spine, you have a nervous system, it's for everybody. And so, at these dinners, we always ask someone to share their personal testimony. And some of you who are here have spoken at dinners. Linda and Yvette, Live Saved, Jared, and many more. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Tonight, I'm going to ask a very special person to come up. She's been a patient for over 20 years. This care has saved her life and changed her life. But what's amazing about this person is I've known her for 48 years. This is my Aunt Rona. Come on up, Aunt Rona. And she's gonna cry, and that's okay, because we heal in community. And we love Aunt Rona.
Well, my name is Rona. I'm a retired school teacher in the neighborhood. I suffered with migraine headaches for as long as I could remember. There were times I would take a train into the city, have to call my dad up because I got a migraine headache, and I started throwing up, and I couldn't get home. I couldn't get anywhere. I'd call my sister if I went shopping with the car. I couldn't go home because I was so sick. I had a terrible migraine headache. I couldn't get in the car. I couldn't drive home because I was so sick, throwing up for hours. I used to say, just punch me and knock me out because I couldn't deal with all the pain of throwing up. I used to teach, leave the school, sometimes walk home because I taught across the street from where I lived. I was so sick, throwing up, hours until the last moment. And talked to Larry, and Larry said, Aunt Rona, you have to try this. Well, I wasn't really knowledgeable or educated about chiropractics. And he said, I'm telling you, this will help you. I couldn't travel anywhere, I couldn't go anywhere because I was always afraid. Well, what if I got sick? How would I get back? I never traveled anywhere. Started to go into Larry's practice, and it saved my life. I have been going over 20 years, and I have also discussed it with many, many people who suffer with migraine headaches. The doctors used to give me pills, and I had 2 small children, and I used to be sleeping on the bed. How could you do that? You couldn't do that. And I'm not a real big drug taker, but I couldn't deal with the headaches. I could not. This practice has saved my life. It has given me a chance to travel and go places. With all my other doctor's appointments, I don't think I've ever canceled any of my appointments here for the fear that it would not get me through the following time. I used to drive to the office, sit down, and he would, Dr. Larry would do the adjustment, and I could actually feel the headache just leaving my head and leaving my body. And I'm telling you, there are so many people that I have recommended this practice to. It has given me a definite change of my life. And it's wonderful. And I will continue to go. I have my appointment on Thursday. And I just have to say it was one of the best things I've ever done. My daughter, my sister doesn't have any of her migraine headaches. My daughter doesn't have any migraine headaches. And it has helped me in so many ways. And I would rather do this than take all those medications and things. And I always tell people, just give it a try. It's amazing of what it can do for you and what it has done for me. So I bless him, and I'm glad, and I will continue to go. I love you, Larry.
Such a blessing to take care of family. My grandmother, when she was alive, may she rest in peace, she suffered with terrible vertigo, and she couldn't look up. The whole world would spin. And when you open your practice, after Linda came in, the next patients were my family. And Grandma was one of my first patients. And I'll never forget the day she came in and she wore the big wraparound, Florida type sunglasses. And she was like 4'9", but like powerful, right? And she came into the office and she said, "Larry, look." And she looked like Stevie Wonder. And then she would tell all my patients, "That's my grandson. Isn't he delicious?" "Grandma, you're embarrassing me." And now here I am telling the story to all of you. And Grandma's with us tonight. She's having a blast. So we're here tonight to celebrate, to learn, to inspire. But I also said to you that this is a mission for us. In fact, for me, it's a spiritual calling. I see you all as souls. I see us all as souls in this momentary moment called life. And my purpose is to bring health and positivity and change to anyone that allows us the opportunity to serve them. So many of you would have never even considered going to a chiropractor. And neither did I at one point in my life. I didn't get my first adjustment until I was 21. But there's two things that cause us to change. And that's a crisis or a change in perspective. Hopefully tonight nobody's in crisis, but if you are, and there always is somebody in the room, you let us know because we're going to move you to the front of the line. There's two things that cause us to change our perspective, and that's the people we meet and the things that we learn. And that, we met some new people tonight, we learned some new information. When we do these events, we do it to give you an opportunity for a checkup, for you and your family. Now remember what I said, this may be for somebody that's not in the room. And you're going to be able to help them too. For patients, you may have family members that are watching the game tonight that you want this for. You may have a mother that you want this for Mother's Day, or a father for Father's Day. I didn't say that everybody needs care, but everybody's entitled to a checkup. Just like you have your eyes checked, your ears checked, your heart checked, your lungs checked. When was the last time your doctor checked your spine and your nervous system? It only controls and coordinates your whole life. So in our office, it will be the most thorough evaluation you have in a doctor's office, and I know that because I block an hour for you. And when was the last time a doctor spent an hour with you? We do a thorough health history to understand what you're going through, what you've been through, what your desires are, what's important to you, what your medicines you're on, what your nutrition is, what your lifestyle is. And then if it makes sense, we move into a full spine exam, computerized neurological testing like the HRV test that I mentioned. And if it's necessary, we take full standing x-rays. We don't just take part of you. We take all of you. And we do it so that we understand the relationship of your whole body under gravity. And if there's any changes or damage, we see that too. Because the upper cervical adjustment and the adjustments we do is for the full spine. And the best thing about our adjustment is there's no cracking, popping, or twisting.
That's right.
That's right, amen. It's gentle. It doesn't need to. This bone weighs 10 ounces. I'm 180 pounds. I don't have to hammer it. I just have to love it, finesse it, have physics and mechanics to gently start to unlock it, unlock the nervous system. So that evaluation also is with a follow-up appointment where we go over the results of all your tests, show your x-rays, and if we can help you, we tell you what we found, how long it takes, how much it costs, and if we can't help you, we will recommend someone who can. We will not leave you hanging.